had the opportunity in my life to hang around a lot of really, really smart people, and to have the chance to hang around them enough that I've come to know a little bit about how those smart people think. So learning how they think, not just what they talk about, not just what they teach, but actually getting to know them well enough that you get insights into the way they think is an incredibly powerful thing in your life. Anytime you get a chance to hang around a really smart person, try to delve into, don't just sit there and bask in the brilliance of what they say. Work on trying to figure out what they're thinking that causes what they say to come out of their mouth, okay? And what they do. And then what I look at is how do they go about implementing this in their marketing? I'm talking specifically about marketers here, but a lot of people who are very smart who aren't marketers have this same trait that I'm going to talk about. So the very best, the very brightest marketers I know tend to think about everything in what I call sequences, and a number of them call it this, but some of them have called it paths. Some of them have called it journeys, whatever they call it. The key thing is this process of getting people to where you want them to be. This is what really separates the brilliant ones from the amateurs, the really smart ones from most people. And here's how those sequences tend to work. Basically, what I find them ask is this: where is my target audience now in terms of things like their attitudes, their level of knowledge about the subject, the beliefs that they have about you, about me as the marketer, the beliefs they have about themselves in relation to you and your brand and everything, and the things that they need to do to be able to succeed in that particular area, because that's really, really key. Because they can buy into, oh, this is going to be really good for me, all these things, but if they have a strong notion that they can't do it until you can get them to get to the point where they believe that they can do it, you're never going to succeed with them. Okay? Next, so we start with where are they now? The next question is, where do I need them to be in order to buy or go forward or whatever it is that you're trying to do here? And once you've established both ends of that timeline, then you say, okay, now what is the sequence of steps that I need to take them through to get them from where they are to where they need to be? All right. That sequence is vital to this process. And this right here is the real key to getting to know these, to understanding how these really smart marketers work. Most of the time, it's not a single communication. It's a group of communications. This is why it's so important in marketing to have relationships and to have a list or some way that you can consistently communicate with the same person in a sequence. So this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, so you can move them through that timeline to get them to where you're trying to be. Now, amateurs, what I find, when they do something, you ask them, why did you just do that? And their answer will be, because that's what X system, whatever system they're using, said to do. When you talk to pros and you ask them why they do that, because they say, because that's the next step in the sequence. It's what moves them further from where they are to where they need to be to buy. This makes sense? So if you think about it, what we're trying to do in this process of marketing is to move them down that path so that they are ready to purchase when you give them the opportunity to purchase. Now, some people may be listening to this and say, how manipulative, how dare they, how dare Don talk about these things, all those kinds of things. But you know what? You've done it over and over again in your life. You did it when you were trying to get somebody to fall in love with you. You've done it when you're trying to get your kids to do something. You've done it when you're trying to teach something to someone. You've done it when you're trying to change your own habits and behaviors. This is a core part of creating change in the world. Go look at the activist kinds of things that are out there. There is clearly a sequence that is being done in all kinds of political activism things that are going on in our world. It's all sequences. The key is to sit back and say, I want to watch the sequences that are taking place. I'm going to think about why they're doing what they're doing in addition to just observing what they're doing. When you think about why they're doing what they're doing, then you start to come to understand those sequences and you get better at doing them yourself. So if you remember, go back to the card where I said, okay, the difference between an amateur and a pro is an amateur says, when you ask them why they're doing what they're doing, they say, because this is the next step in this process that I paid somebody $2,000 to teach me. A pro, you ask them that same question, the answer is, I'm doing it because this is the next step in the sequence that I've got to take somebody. And if you're constantly thinking in sequences, then you're constantly moving people towards where they need to be to buy from you. And that's what creates a successful marketer. Thoughts? Questions? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.